130 soldiers stand at attention, boots polished, rifles up, not a muscle moving. They are the King's Guard of Norway, one of the most disciplined units in Europe, and right now every single one of them is waiting to salute the officer who is about to inspect them. He arrives. He waddles down the line about knee-high in a tuxedo he was technically born wearing. He is a penguin. His name is Sir Nils Olav III. He is a major general. And the soldiers, the real ones with the rifles, they salute him. This is not a joke. There is a bronze statue of him. He has a knighthood, personally approved by the king. And he is, I promise you, just one of 3 animals in this video who genuinely, officially, outranked the humans around them. One of them carried live artillery shells through one of the worst battles of the Second World War. And, keep this in the back of your head, 2 of the 3 ended their lives in the exact same place. We'll get there. Let's start with the penguin. To understand how a penguin got a rank, you have to go back to 1913. A Norwegian shipping magnate wanted to give Edinburgh Zoo a gift. Not a check. Not a plaque. King penguins, shipped from the southern seas to Scotland, as you do. So a little colony of Norwegian-donated penguins has been living in Edinburgh ever since. Charming, harmless, nothing military about it. Until 1961. A young lieutenant in the Norwegian King's Guard named Niels Olav comes to visit and falls completely in love with the penguins. Not casually. The man becomes obsessed. He decides his elite military unit needs a penguin, and in 1972, the Guard makes it official. They adopt one penguin and give him a name that stitches 2 men together. Nils, after the lieutenant, Olav, and Olav, after Olav Sigerud, the commander of the Guard that year. And yes, it happens to echo the king's name too, which never hurt his career. Nils Olav. And on day 1, he isn't just a mascot. They make him a lance corporal. Now here's the part that should not have escalated, and absolutely did. Every few years, the King's Guard travels to Edinburgh, and every time they visit, they promote him. A lance corporal becomes a corporal, the corporal becomes a sergeant, then a regimental sergeant major, then an honorary one. Then, and I want you to sit with this, in 2008, in front of 130 guardsmen and a crowd of onlookers, a penguin is knighted. The honor approved personally by King Harold V. The royal citation states, with a completely straight face, that Nils Olav is, quote, in every way qualified to receive the honor and dignity of knighthood. He was not done. 2016, promoted to brigadier. 2023, major general. He also holds the title Baron of Bouvet Island. So what does a major general penguin actually do? He inspects the troops. On parade day, the soldiers line up, and Nils Olav walks the line, slowly, gravely, pausing as if judging their posture, while 130 armed men hold a perfect salute. He wears epaulets. There are 2 bronze statues of him, one at the zoo, one at the Guards compound in Oslo. And the keepers? They'll tell you the truth with a shrug. He's a flirty, fish-obsessed penguin who sings good morning and has no idea he's a general, which, honestly, might make him the most qualified general in history. But a penguin inspecting a parade is one kind of absurd. The next animal didn't just wear a uniform's worth of medals. He clocked in. He did a real job, a dangerous one, and he did it for 9 years without a single mistake. South Africa, the 1880s. A railway signalman named James Wide was known up and down the line by a nickname, Jumper, because he loved to leap between moving rail cars, show off, daredevil. One day he misses. He falls under the train and he loses both of his legs below the knee. In the 1880s, that is the end of a working man's life. No legs, no job, no income, no safety net. Jumper carves himself a pair of peg legs and builds a little trolley to push himself around. But he can barely get to work, let alone do it. He is about to lose everything. And then, at a market, he sees something he can't quite believe. A baboon, leading an ox cart, steering a team of oxen, calm as you like. Jumper buys him on the spot, names him Jack. What happens next, no one would believe if the records weren't there. Jack starts by pushing Jumper's trolley between the cottage and the signal box, twice a day. Then he takes over the chores, sweeping, the garden, odd jobs around the place, but Jack is watching Jumper work the signal box, the levers that tell trains which track to take, the difference between a safe journey and a head-on collision. And Jack learns it. The whistle blows a certain number of times. Jack throws the right lever. Another signal. Another lever. He even turns his head to look down the track, to confirm the train is coming before he commits. He double-checks, which is more than I can say for some humans. For years, this baboon ran the signals. And, as the story is famously told, not one train ever went wrong on his watch. Until a passenger looked out the window and saw a baboon operating the levers that her life depended on. She complained. Of course she complained. The railway, by most accounts, dismissed them both. Jumper begged the railway, test him, just test him. So they did. An inspector stood in the signal box and blew the whistles in random order, trying to trip him up. Throwing signal after signal, Jack got every single one right. The railway didn't just rehire him, they put him on the books, an official employee, his own employment number, a wage, 20 cents a day plus half a bottle of beer a week. Here is the detail I can't stop thinking about. The railway superintendent who came to document all this, a man named George Howe, wrote down what he saw when the work was done. Jack put one arm around Jumper's neck and with the other gently stroked the man's face. The man who lost his legs and the animal everyone else saw as a curiosity. They had each other. Jack worked that signal box for about 9 years, and in all that time, the story goes, never caused a single accident. He died in 1890 of tuberculosis, and his story would have vanished completely, except that today, his skull still sits in a museum in Grahamstown. Proof that it really happened. A penguin who inspects an army. A baboon who held down a real job better than the men who fired him. But the last animal in this story didn't work near a war. He went into one. 1942, the middle of the Second World War. A column of Polish soldiers is moving through the mountains of Iran. These are men of the Anders Army, soldiers who had survived Soviet prison camps and were now marching to rejoin the war. Exhausted, far from home, and on the roadside, a boy is holding a sack. Inside it, an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub, tiny, starving, its mother gone. The soldiers buy him. The price, some canned beef, a few bars of chocolate, and a Swiss Army knife. They name him Wojtek. It means roughly happy warrior. They feed the cub condensed milk from an empty vodka bottle. And Wojtek grows up thinking he is simply a soldier. He wrestles the men. He rides in the front seat of trucks with his paw out the window. He learns to drink beer and would peer mournfully into the bottle when it was empty. He ate lit cigarettes. He took showers and would waste all the water, which the men found less charming. And he grows and grows. This is a Syrian brown bear. He will eventually reach nearly 500 kilograms. That's around 1,000 pounds of bear who thinks he's one of the guys. Beloved, but still, officially, a pet. And in 1944, that becomes a problem. The unit is ordered to ship to Italy, to the front. And the British transport ships have a rule. No pets, no animals, no exceptions. So the Polish army does the only logical thing. They enlist the bear. Wojtek is given a name on the roster, a serial number, and a paybook. He is now, formally, Private Wojtek of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company, a soldier. So he is allowed on the ship because the rule said no pets, and a private is not a pet. Then comes Monte Cassino. Monte Cassino was one of the bloodiest battles of the entire Western War. Months of fighting over a single mountain monastery. And the 22nd Company's job was to carry ammunition, heavy wooden crates of artillery shells, up to the guns, under fire. The men carried the crates, and Wojtek watched the men, and then, imitating them, the way he'd imitated everything his whole life, he stood up on 2 legs, and he started carrying the shells too. 100-pound crates of 25-pound shells. He carried them in his arms, up the slope, to the guns. At least one British soldier left an account of seeing a bear hauling ammunition, something he could barely believe, and the men of his unit swore he never dropped a single crate. For that, Private Wojtek was promoted to corporal, and the company did something that outlasted all of them. They changed their official insignia to the image of a bear carrying an artillery shell. That insignia is still in use today. When the war ended, the world the Polish soldiers had fought for didn't come back to them. Poland fell under Soviet control. Many of these men could not safely go home, and neither, they decided, could Wojtek. They would not let their comrade be turned into someone else's propaganda. So in 1947, they brought him somewhere safe, a place that would care for him for the rest of his life. They brought him to Edinburgh Zoo. His old comrades visited him for years, Polish veterans would come to the enclosure and, old habits, toss him cigarettes and pour him beer. Some say he still perked up at the sound of Polish being spoken. He died in 1963. There are statues of him today in Krakow, in Edinburgh, and at Casino itself. Now, remember, all the way back at the start, I told you to keep something in the back of your head? Two of these three animals ended up in the same place. Sir Nils Olav, the penguin major general, he lives at Edinburgh Zoo. And Wojtek, the bear who carried shells at Monte Cassino, he spent his final years at Edinburgh Zoo. One zoo, home to a knighted penguin general and a war hero bear corporal, two of the strangest military careers in history, retired to the same few acres of Scotland. We hand out ranks and medals and knighthoods, and we tell ourselves these honors mean something, that they're proof of being human. A penguin, a baboon, and a bear never got that memo. And honestly, every one of them earned it. This is Doodle History, where we take the ordinary things you've never thought twice about and find the strange, true story hiding underneath. If a penguin general made your day a little weirder, stick around. There's a new one every week.